We are here to have a ball, guys. I am so stoked. Check this out. Woo! We need to get focused on some of our language. Now, today, I'm going to be a language nerd because this is just who I am. It's part of who I am. You need to experience this. I had this cool discovery about the word decision. And it was something that was so impactful for me that I felt like I not only needed to share it with my Toastmasters group, I did a competition earlier this week on Tuesday, but I wanted to make sure that I shared the whole story with you. It'll probably even make it into my keynote addresses because this was so impactful. Let me take you back to a dusty morning. It was in the deserts of Utah. I was in Draper, and I was in this, I'll call it a polygamist house. It was a 3-story building. It used to be owned by polygamists. We were living on the main floor, and it was an early morning. Remember, guys, my name is Brigham, but I am not a polygamist. I've never been a polygamist. And even though I did live in that polygamist house, we had a family above us and a family below us. I don't have enough kids for that, guys. I don't have any extra wives, just the one. So we were in this house. It was an early morning. I was really excited to eat some red, delicious apples. And the thing about these was we just bought them, I think it was the night before, maybe even at a farmer's market. But I was just looking forward to having a great apple. And I pull out this apple and I bite into it, thinking it's going to be a crisp, juicy one. And it was juicy, but boy, was it not crisp. It was like super mealy, and I look at it and it was bruised all over the place. I was like, this is gross. Like, I'm a little too young to appreciate pre-chewed food. And because of that, I was thinking, you know what? I'm going to get a different apple. So I put that one down and looked through the bag, and it was also bruised. And I went through, and every single one of these apples was bruised. And I don't know what my kids were doing, but it was effective. They were kicking or throwing these. They were playing juggling, bocce ball, whatever it was extremely effective. Bruised everywhere. I didn't want to eat any of them. I was like, what am I going to do with these? The apples, not the kids. And I had this idea strike me. I was like, oh, I know what I could do. I could take these to the North Pasture. And as soon as that idea hit me, it struck me kind of like a few months ago. It was dark, and my little boy Benjamin, he'd been getting into things, and we had our ottoman across the hallway, and my shin found it in the middle of the night, and it bounced my face off the wall. That's how good this idea was. It just struck me. And I took these apples, and I was like, they are going to love these things. So I took them with me, and I grabbed my little pups, my little kiddos. They love to play act all the time. So I got them on my shoulders. I put on my little slippers, crunched across the gravel to our North Pasture. And we started feeding these horses all of these apples, and they were enjoying it so much. My kids just giggled. I have to share this visual with you because anytime you start to interact with horses, it just is delightful. And this is part of the story hook method. Here's the fence tree. So we walk to the North Pasture, and you see there's these horses here, and my kids just absolutely enjoyed it. They loved seeing these horses. And there was a bunch of them, different colors. You have paint ones, you have dark brown ones. But usually we only had hay to feed them. Like when I took these pictures, it was when we just had hay. But you see how they just lit up when they got to interact with these horses. And this day, it was even more. They were like whinnying with delight, and they were like licking their lips as we were giving them the whole bag of apples, basically. And we got close enough to these horses. My kids were delighted. They had so much fun. And I leaned up close to the fence. You notice there's a barbed wire fence there, but there was this tree. And as I looked a little closer at it, I was like, wow, that tree doesn't look very healthy. This was back in 2020. There's a lot of people that were feeling unhealthy at that time. And you think about things that impact you immediately, tiny little decisions that make a massive impact. This was one of those moments for me. I looked closely at this tree, and as we were clicking and doing all these things to have all these horses come to us, I couldn't help but see this tree with new eyes, with a new perspective. I wanted to show you what this looks like. It took me just a moment to go all the way around the tree, but this tree never really decided to grow on the north side or on the south that said, you know what? I'm going to tightrope walk this thing and I'm going to make it. But the thing is, plants don't do very well if they are split in half. If you ever taken a wedge and tried to smack it through some wood, you see that it splits it. Anytime you have indecision, it will split you. And I looked at this tree and I said, this is the perfect example of what indecision looks like. Because a decision in ASL, you have to start with thinking and then you weigh your options. Look at this. And I was just taken aback. It looked like when you have cinnamon rolls and you're making them rolled out beautifully, and you take that string and you pinch it. If you look close to that middle picture, you see how the trunk started to get split by these barbed wires. And it was buried deep like a cheese wire trying to cut through cheese, and it just got stuck. That's what indecision meant for me. It started to show up in all these different places in my life. And I started noticing if you don't make a decision, the decision gets made for you. And in this case, when we first interacted with this tree, it was probably 2019, maybe 2018. It did have a few leaves left. It looked like if you had a thought and was like, hold on a second, let me think about this. That's what the visual of this tree looks like. Let me back up just a hair so you can see it. Where is that? They're right there. You see, it only had one branch left. And because that one branch was there, it had a few leaves when we first were there, but by the end of 2020, it had died. What does indecision do for you? It does nothing. It doesn't help you. It actually cripples you. A good decision made at the right time is better than the best decision made too late. That was from my mission president. He taught me that years ago, but this visual started to sink deep inside me, just like that barbed wire did for the tree. So you think about a decision. Decidere in Latin, that's the origin of decision. It means to cut off. To cut off. And we're going to get a little nerdy with language right here, but think about this. If you make a decision, you have a split in a road, a crossroads. You have to make a choice. Am I going to go right? Am I going to go left? Am I going to go north? Going to go south? Think about Robert Frost said, you know what? A road converged and I took the road less traveled. When you make a choice, the other choice is gone. It's almost like that conquistador who went and he said, you know what? We're going to burn the boats. We're going to make a decision. We're going to cut off that exit, that retreat, and make it happen. Now, this is fascinating. In Mandarin, it's not just to cut off. That's what jue means. It means to cut off. But ding is certainty. It's to be set firm. When you make a decision, you have to love your choice after you make it. And you own that choice. You make the decision and you stick with it. You think about marriage, and if you loved your wife and then you loved your choice, that's how marriages get stuck together for a long, long time. I just recently had a friend, Dan, and his wife, they just crossed the 60-year mark in their marriage. That's so amazing because he didn't just love his wife on the day that he married her. Remember, love is a verb. He loved her so much that he continues to find ways to show that love and to be loving. That's a decision. And you're set firmly in that decision, so much so that you don't give up. You say, you know what? I'm committed. I've committed to this choice and I'm going to stick to it. Now, this is one that I think you have to see to believe. ASL, remember, you remember that tree? You think this is like a D, right? A D hand shape. You think about it, and then you weigh your decisions, just like a scale. And I'm a Libra, but yeah, you scale that and you figure out which one is the choice that has the weight. Which one will weigh the decision the very best? And this is F, okay, right? This is the hand shape for F. So you think about this, you have to actually give 2 Fs about what your choice is. And when you make a decision, you don't have to give an F to the rest of it. You just focus on what your decision is and you love your choice. Ooh, guys, do you feel that? Do you feel how cool that is? I don't care if you don't like languages. I don't care if you only got one right now. As you understand more and more the power of language and you see how all of these patterns start to come together, you can make decisions that will change your life. And I hope that today you got a little bit of a taste of what the value of a great story is. You'll never be able to see indecision the same way. When you make a decision and you stick to it, you're set firm in it. And you say, you know what, I've weighed the choices. That's what I'm going to stick with. That's what I'm going to do. And you set so firm in that choice. That's what transference of confidence is. You make a decision, you show that you're a leader. Now, I hope that this was inspiring for you. It was something that gives you confidence, because I'm all about setting confidence up for you through storytelling. One of the biggest things that I've done recently is I put a lot of different ideas that are extremely valuable into my book, 3 Reasons Stage Fright Costs and Why You Must Fix It. If you don't have that yet, guys, it's free. Just reach out to me, shoot me a little DM and say, hey, you know what, Brigham, I definitely want to hear your insights on that, because I sometimes feel a little anxious or I feel nervous, and I need to decide today what I need to do to get a little bit more comfortable in front of people. This is the key here, guys. You have to make a decision. You have to decide and then do something about it. So if your decision is, you know what, I don't know what I'm going to do, and you don't actually make a choice, you're just like that tree. You're stuck thinking, oh, hold on a second. Ooh, let me think. And eventually it doesn't work out for you. But if you make a decision, you say, you know what, this is what I want out of my life. I do want to get better at speaking on stage. I do want to improve my storytelling abilities. I want to make sure that when I communicate, people actually want to listen. That is one of the ways that I can help. But if you're not sure, that's okay. Keep listening. I come every single week. Guys, like and follow this podcast. We've got so much value for you. I've got a handful of great people coming up in September. Also, the last thing I wanted to make sure that you are aware of, it's happening next week, the 11th through the 27th. We have the Grand Junction Temple Open House. What does this do for you? It gives you the opportunity as a non-member, as a friend of our church, to come and see what we see in the temple, to walk through Christ's house and experience some of the beauty that's in it. It's so cool. Guys, you only have 3 weeks to experience that, and then it is closed off just for members because it's a very sacred space. After it's dedicated, it's only for members. But before then, anybody in the entire world is welcome to come and experience that. So I hope that's you. I hope you come and experience that. If you're like, oh, I want tickets, guys, DM me. I will get you the tickets. I will help you get those. You can show up without tickets and still go in the little bit longer line, and that's okay. Make a decision today to be a little bit better. Now, you may not be interested in storytelling. That's okay. I'm going to still share great stories. I'm going to still show up. I'm going to do my very best to make sure that anytime you tune in and you experience me, that you have a better day, that I share a little bit of that light and brighten your day. But everything that I have learned over the last few years into this book about storytelling, the story hook method. I'm so excited to share it with you guys. It's coming out in October. I'll tell you a whole lot more about it as we're going. This little story is in there, and there's even more insights. So I hope that you like and subscribe to this podcast. Continue to connect with me. I want to build that relationship with you because you are worth it. I hope you have a blessed rest of your day. Continue to follow the Leveling Up podcast and level up yourself in every area of your life. God bless, guys.